And you're listening to Revolution Rampage. I know we haven't recorded in a while, but today we have a very special guest with us, and that will be Renee from the Black Girl Hockey Club. We've met with her before, but this is the first time we've actually had her on the podcast, and I am excited.
Yes. Hi, all. So excited to talk with you today.
Great.
Yeah, so Renee, you've been with us during a tailgate was it a year ago? Time flies. It's pre-pandemic, so before more than a year at this point.
I was about to say it feels like an eternity.
Yeah, it's
I
pre-pandemic, so of course it's more than a year. And we had a really great time. We brought out the drinks, we brought out the cake, we brought out everything. We had a wonderful blast, and we had a big showing and representation here in North Carolina, right? No one thinks of the southern teams like Carolina having support for an organization like the Black Girl Hockey Club. But tell us, Renee, how have the Canes fans been real allies and sponsors of what you guys are doing?
Well, Omar, I don't know if you know this, but Amanda and I have been homegirls on Twitter for a couple of years now. And I want to say even before Black Girl Hockey Club existed, we kind of were in each other's sphere because I knew she had, her daughters who played hockey, and it was just, she's a cool chick and she's a Canes fan. And so we hit it off right off the bat. And whenever I was thinking in 2019-2020 season of what we wanted to do for in terms of meetups, Amanda's whispering in my ear that we have to go see the Hurricanes. We have to go see the Hurricanes. The Canes. And we were down south to go see the Nashville Predators. And of course, Amanda came up with the girls. But it's not a party if it's not a Canes party. And so whenever we were planning that season, the Carolina Hurricanes were on the list. And we were lucky enough to connect with the front office and with the Canes Foundation. And they invited us to come out and to do some really cool things. And once that was in place, you guys hooked up the tailgate because you said, we cannot go see a Carolina game just in the state without participating in a tailgate. And I had, coming from California, I had no idea what I was in for. And it was a lot of fun, friends, and food hosted by y'all. And then, we got to go inside and see a hockey game together. I mean, it was probably, and then, 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit. A month, maybe 3 weeks later, the pandemic hit. Everything shut down. And really, that was the last time I got on an airplane to go anywhere, was to Carolina. And that was the last Black Girl Hockey Club meetup that we had in person. So sometimes when I'm sitting sad on my couch alone without real life hockey, I think back to the Canes trip and how much fun we had, and that awesome cake that you guys got.
That cake was all Amanda
on it. It was so cool.
That was all Amanda.
I have so many pictures of the cake, and I never got to taste it. I remember that distinctly. I know.
Oh my God.
But don't feel bad.
Oh, that is just perfect.
You know what? I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I never tasted my wedding cake either. So I know. Yeah, I forget about the cake because I'm partying too much. I'm having too much fun. And then
fair enough.
If my wife never got to taste her wedding cake, she would divorce me just to marry me again.
Got lucky. We got so lucky with just the timing of we got it done and then nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do a Canes game without a Canes fans tailgate. That's, I mean,
my goodness.
That's
tradition.
Just one of the, I mean, that's one of the things that brings Canes fans together. We get to know each other on Twitter, and they were like, hey, come have a drink, come have food. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of people. And it's great. And you get to see people in person. I can't wait for those days to come back.
I know.
Sue, did you
miss
see
my
that in
Canes
North
people so
Carolina,
much.
Governor Cooper said that the vaccinations are going so well at such a high rate that we can be back to 100% everything in the state June 1st.
You think so?
This is not my words. That's the governor's words.
Please.
And he's
Come
one
on.
of the first people to shut down the state and enact all the proper ordinances. So if he says it's good, I trust him in that because he's been good at evaluating and pulling back if he has to, if people aren't doing the right thing. And the state's been really good at putting the vaccine out. I mean, we have Pfizer in our backyard, so of course we are.
Right.
So hopefully these tailgates are coming back soon for the playoffs. I mean, June 1st is what, like about second round? We'll make it there. Third
about
round.
The time that we'll be whooping some Lightning butt.
You know what? That's if the Lightning get past the Panthers.
Frank, Canes are going to playoffs anyway. So.
What universe are we in?
I'm starting snap.
I mean, in reality, though, in North Carolina and some other states where hockey is starting to get back to normal, people are looking into these kind of things. Like, do we start tailgating again? Do we bring back?
I think we start slow. We have to start slow because if you try to rush
now that they are, do you girls have plans on starting to get on the road again? If not for the end of this season, but for the start of next?
You know what? I kind of agree with what Omar said. I don't want to rush it. We'll probably take the rest of the season off, take the summer to kind of evaluate what live events are going to look like, and then come back strong in the fall and the end of this year. That's my hope.
I mean, you got a year and a half to make up for.
Exactly, right? I'm going to have to go to so many hockey games. Darn it.
Oh no.
My gosh, that's such a bad thing.
What will I do? All right.
Yeah. And definitely coming back out to Carolina, because I had such a blast out there. And I mean, while I was out there, I kept talking about, coming back to see the outdoor game. That was my plan, that we were going to come back to see the outdoor game. And so, whatever that looks like, you're going to see this space there for sure.
Next year, please. Please.
Right?
You need to come to at least one. You need to come to the outdoor game.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea.
You need to come to the outdoor game. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's a good one, Omar. I thought about that.
Oh yeah. Do I have that?
Idea.
Can we get that in writing right now?
Right.
Like, let's just annotate this. Let's write a whole contract out. But no, the outdoor game, I think we're going to have it's going to be a tailgate to end all tailgates. Because it's the Canes outdoor game at Carter Finley, right across the street from PNC Arena. In fact, we're going to use the same lots anyways to tailgate in. So expect the party to be massive. North Carolina's done a good job with getting back from the pandemic. So, hey, we're ready to rock and roll. We're going to have every single food imaginable out there. And
bust out the live barbecue. Let's go.
Bring a whole pig, just roast it there.
Oh my goodness.
Someone will do that. Someone's gonna do that. It's gonna be insane.
We got some crazy friends. Let's figure it out.
But between now and then, there's time, and in that time, there's still a mission. And Black Girl Hockey Club is more than just a club where people just come out. It has a purpose. It has a mission. It has something it's driving towards. Talk to us about where you were to where you are now in that mission sense, and what can the teams, the fans, and any even if they're not hockey fans, people who are like, yeah, I support this. What can we do? What can they do? What can the teams do to really have that mission move forward?
Well, when the Black Girl Hockey Club started, it was really, our mission hasn't changed. Our mission is to create a space in ice hockey for Black women, our friends, our families, our kids, and our allies. And so with that mission in mind, Black Girl Hockey Club started as a place for Black women and our folks to come together and go see games, right? But that was only step one. And the pandemic really hit home this idea that, we need to have a community space in whatever way that looks like, whether it's in real life, whether it's a digital space, that is a space for Black women to talk about hockey, to enjoy the game, to play, to learn, and just to really feel like they're part of the hockey community. And then, a year ago when the pandemic hit, and then we had the murder of George Floyd. And that sparked a movement, right? I mean, we saw people in the streets all over the world protesting against police brutality and violence against the Black communities. And Black Girl Hockey Club made the decision that we were going to address these issues inside and outside of hockey, and not just remain a group that is seen as, just a bunch of girls coming together to giggle and talk about hockey, but to recognize that we have some really amazing people who are involved in Black Girl Hockey Club, who are professionals, who are executives, who are journalists, who are hockey moms, who are, who represent so many different walks of life and have so many different skills that we can really facilitate a change in hockey culture if we put our voices together. And so, we started holding digital events last year. We had some educational events, and then in the playoffs last year, which were in October, which is so weird to even say out loud.
Didn't it sound like late September? It was like,
yeah,
it
late
was
September.
the wildest playoffs
it was
I've ever
so weird.
seen. Yeah.
It was
weird watching NFL football and NHL hockey happening at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm used to at least, the end of football season at some point during hockey, right? But no, it was weird to have that concurrent.
And there was the bubble.
There was the bubble.
And 24 teams and so but tell us how all that came together and with you guys and how that conversation was important.
So we decided at the beginning of the playoffs that we were going to launch the Get Uncomfortable campaign, which is an advocacy campaign really addressing our allies' involvement in anti-racism work in hockey. And we launched the campaign with a pledge that is still on our website. You can go to blackgirlhockeyclub.org and find the Get Uncomfortable campaign pledge that just asks signatories to make a pledge that they're going to be anti-racist in hockey. They're going to actively work against white supremacy in hockey. And we have, at this point, I want to say we have over 6,000 signatures on that pledge. And those are individuals, okay? Those are people who work in hockey. Those are fans of hockey. Those are podcasters like you guys, folks that work for the various foundations and in all levels of hockey, because really, it's great whenever we can get a team like the Hurricanes, right, to publicly pledge their anti-racism in hockey and to publicly pledge that they're going to work with Black Girl Hockey Club to overcome these issues. But it's even more important to me when we get individuals within organizations who make that conscious decision to talk about these issues with their friends and with their families and with their coworkers, not just, a one and done big social media push to say that, they're doing something, but they're actually, doing the work on the ground and facilitating a change in their little circle. And that's what it's all about. Because if we can get, 6,000 individuals in the hockey community to do that work in their places of work, in their churches, in their homes, in their schools, then we're going to make a change. There's no denying it.
That's great. I think a good point. I was making sure I was muted. I think a good thing that you said is the word anti-racism. I mean, a lot of people can say, "Oh, I'm not racist. I'm not racist." That's fine, and that's good. I'm glad. But anti-racism is just a little different. You know, you're making an effort to fight racism. You are, you know, maybe having a conversation with somebody who may not think about it that way and educating them, and you're making the effort to be anti-racist. I don't know if I'm rambling, but it makes sense. There was a conversation I had with somebody on Twitter who had made, you know, kind of a sideways remark about it. And I said, look, you know, if you want to have an adult conversation, let's have a conversation. I'm a member, I'm an ally, let's talk. So we kind of went back and forth a little bit. And, you know, he was just like, well, you know, all of this that you say, I understand, but you have to admit, if there was a white girl hockey club, then there would be a problem. So I was like, oh, so your issue is not with the organization, it's with the name. And then I was like, well, you know what? I'm not a minority, so why would I need that one in the first place? And when I walk into a hockey arena, there's a whole lot of people that look like me. So why would I need a white girl hockey club? You know? Yeah. So he's just, I don't know if I got through to him or not, but
no, but it's not your conversation with him. It's for everyone else watching the conversation that may like, you know what? Yeah, she makes a lot of sense. And obviously this guy's just going around the circles over nuance. But not only that, like, you know, like for me, I think Black Girl High Club for me is really important that this organization exists. Absolutely. And I am neither a girl nor am I Black. I mean, I am African, just I'm not Black. So why is it important to me? And I would say that because if we can take care of if we can have representation and take care of the most diverse, the least represented group, if we can say they matter and and we can carry them, then I matter.
Yeah.
If all those groups can be taken care of, then I'm you know, there aren't a lot of Arab male or North African male hockey players, but there's a few. And you know, me going to an arena, I'm not going to get as many weird looks as a young Black girl going and watching a game. So, but I might get looks, but not as many as hers. But if I can have representation, ensure that the smallest groups, the least taken care of or least represented groups are taken care of, are represented, are seen. Yeah. Then I know without shadow of doubt that I'm seen, that I'm taken care of, that I'm represented without having to think about it.
Yeah.
And you know, Omar, you just basically defined Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. That's exactly how I see it. I mean, and that's exactly it. And people are like, all lives matter. It's like, no, like when, you know, you take a shepherd, you know, if one small lamb is in danger, he's going to leave the rest of the flock and go after the lamb. And you can't say, well, what about the rest of your flock? They're okay. They're not in danger. Right. They're fine. They're not going to get eaten by wolves. Because they have all this structure and system that's built to protect them. I got to go after the one that isn't and bring it into the system that is being protected so it can be protected as well.
That's a really good analogy. I had never heard that one before.
You were about to laugh at him, Amanda, and then it came strong.
Did it? Yeah.
I didn't like say anything because I've heard him say that before, and I knew.
So, you know, you gotta when people talk about like, why do we say this? And the problem is, it's when people have issue with groups like Black Girl High Club or statements like Black Lives Matter, it's more telling because what they see is the opposite of inclusion because that's how they think, and that's more telling. If you see a group that's supposed to be all about inclusion and bringing in more people, and you see it as you're being excluded, then that is an internal reflection, not an external reflection. So when if you see people saying Black Lives Matter and all you hear is white lives don't matter or Arab lives don't matter, then why is your initial reaction to something as exclusionary? When I hear Black Lives Matter, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes to that. What I don't hear is Arab American lives don't matter. That's not what I hear. And if you do hear something like that, then it's an internal reflection, and that's my response to that. Now, I have a question that reflects on this, right? People say, well, you got to separate sports and politics, and you got to keep it. What do you say? Because I'll give you my 2 cents on this real quick. This is not politics. If you politicize this, then your politics are wrong. It is not supposed to be politics, right? Politics has original politics has been like economic backgrounds and economic differences and systems like that. But if you see like racial inclusion, racial diversity as a political standpoint, then your politics are wrong. But what would you say, Renee, to someone who would say like this has no space in sports, and sports should be our relief from politics, and we need to stay away from it? What would you say to someone who thinks like that?
The first thing that I would say is that the history of politics and sports goes as far back as the history of sports, because we look at the Olympic Games as a political tool. We look at Muhammad Ali being blackballed from boxing because of his politics and his religion, his religious choices. So politics and sports are intertwined. Sports are a microcosm of what's going on in our world. And for people of color, our skin is political. It shouldn't be, but our society makes it this way. And, when we talk about the murders of people of color, Black and brown folks by police, we look at this as a way for our skin to be weaponized, right? Our skin is a weapon. And even if we have no weapons in our hands up, don't shoot, the color of my skin is a weapon. I am defined by the color of my skin in American society. And until that changes, anything that I do is going to be political. And so if I bring that into my work, whether that's sports, as an athlete, or as a journalist, or as a fan, then that's society's problem. Like you said, right? They're politicizing something that doesn't need to be political, but because it is politicized, there's no way for me to separate my politics from my sports. Not yet. Not until we're in this perfect society that doesn't do that to people of color. And so when people, I had this conversation about the phrase "stick to sports" specifically yesterday, and the person I was talking to said it pretty succinctly. She said, "Stick to sports is a farce. This is a silencing tool that people use to silence opinions that they don't want to address, things that they don't want to talk about or think about, while they're trying to enjoy a game that perhaps is on the backs." When we talk about football or basketball or other predominantly Black sports, these are on the backs of Black men, but they're not allowed to be fully themselves because for fear of making certain segments of their audience uncomfortable. And I appreciate in 2020 that the major sports leagues decided to step away from that separation of politics and sports, and to fully, acknowledge that the separation is almost impossible at this point in our society. And so until things, are perfect and we have eradicated racism, this is what it's going to be, because the people who are playing the sports, the people who are watching the sports, the people who are buying the gear and the tickets and the season tickets, they are dealing with issues outside of sports. And those issues are socioeconomic, political, whatever you want to say. And we can't just pretend that those things don't exist. And I think it's unfair to ask people of color, specifically Black folks at this time, to do something like that.
That's a really good response. I've heard that too, but I didn't really know what to say in a rebuttal. I mean, I hated hearing it, but it was like, what do I say? But you saying that it's a silencing tool, it makes complete sense. Absolutely.
It's a cop out is what it is. It's
it's not their job to make
what
us
they don't want to say. What they're really trying to say is, hey, I feel guilty talking about this because I may be a perpetrator of these actions. I may support the broken system. I may think that just because this does not affect me personally, that it's not a
That's
big
big
deal.
part of it.
But instead of internally reflecting and saying, maybe I need to relook the way I look at the world and society and everything, they go, you know what, I don't want to deal with it, so stick to sports.
Right. Yeah.
One thing that I absolutely love about this organization is the view of the scholarships and the fact that you guys are starting from the ground up. You know, any sort of movement, start young, get them involved, and the scholarships are really doing that. You're getting the younger kids a chance to play. Hockey is a extremely expensive sport. I've tried playing it when I was.
It's expensive as an adult too.
It's a massively expensive sport, and it is. But you're giving people the chance. You gave Rayla a scholarship to go to a hockey tournament. You're giving out at least 3 or 4 more per. I believe it's. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's per season, like per fall, spring, that kind of thing.
Yes. So we got. We have 4 scholarships 3 times a year that we're giving out. And so right now we're in our spring summer season. We will have our application process is open until the end of this month. So application deadline is April 30th, and then we'll look through the applications during the month of May. We'll go through them, pick our 4 scholarship awardees, and announce those on May 1st, on June 1st. And we were so excited to see Rayla applying for a scholarship last season. Did she apply more than once?
That was the second time she had applied.
Yeah. That was the second time. Baby. I'm glad. I've told people, especially folks who applied in fall of last year when we did our first real scholarship round, if they didn't get one, to reapply, because we got 30 applications and we only gave away 4 scholarships. So that's 26 Black girls who could reapply the next time. And I just want to keep telling people, just keep applying, because we'll get to you eventually. we want to give this money away. And the scholarship program really came out of conversations that I had with hockey moms like Amanda about the real nitty gritty of what a year playing hockey looks like for a family. And come to my surprise to find out that not only do you have to pay for, just to join a team, but then you have to pay separate fees to go to a tournament, and separate fees for equipment. And you are required to travel and stay in certain hotels. And it gets so ridiculously expensive. And there's not a lot of access to hockey for girls of color anyways, due to lack of representation. Obviously is right up there. We don't see it, so we don't know that we can be it, but also the location of ice rinks in communities that aren't accessible. I was just talking to a hockey coach or a hockey mom who was saying that her son had to ride like the bus for an hour and a half to get to the rink when he was in high school, and then get a ride back because it was too late to take the bus back. And all of these things because we don't make hockey accessible to marginalized communities. And financial gatekeeping is just one part of it, right? But it's the part that our donors can address. And we just ask individuals like you to donate $5, $10, however much you can, so that we can put it in a pool and we can give it back. Because there's so many little Black girls who have dreams that we don't want to see them end just because they can't afford it. That's ridiculous. So our motto is that if we're going to help you play hockey as long as you want to play hockey. And that doesn't mean you have to be a professional hockey player or you have to play college hockey. You could just want to play it this year and then, okay, I guess I'm done. But we want to help little Black girls play hockey as long as they want to. And, to answer back to this constant barrage of, well, Black Girl Hockey Club is exclusive and it excludes people and it's segregation. What I would say is if you look at the USA women's hockey team, you're going to see the White Girls Hockey Club because they've never had a Black player. And that's because there's a myriad of reasons why that is. But it's going to go back to access, and it's going to go back to not having enough Black girls coming through the youth systems, to the college systems, to professional hockey in that manner. And so we want to do something to combat that. If we give them a little bit of money and it helps them, foster a love of hockey that one day gets them to the Olympics, well, I hope they put a BGHC sticker on their helmet and have a good time.
Of course.
And now can have a snowball effect way down the line. We don't know. We do not know. I hope it does.
Absolutely. I hope it does. One of the things that Black Girl Hockey Club means to me, and I'll do my best not to get emotional.
Don't cry. You're gonna make me cry.
We're here to support you, Amanda. You got this.
Got it. I got this. Most of the time. Okay. We'll come back to it.
These boys are giving you a rough time, Amanda. How you put up with them? They tease you so much.
They do. That's why I'm the pod mom, because these guys, I swear, they're just like, you have to reel them in. They're like hyperactive children. It's ridiculous.
Well, anyway. Yeah.
So most of the time that Rayla is on a team, she's the only one. She's the only brown girl out there. So it means a lot for me to have this kind of backup system for her, so that she knows that there is somebody in your corner. And it's not that, her teammates are not in her corner, or any of the Canes organization, or any of the other parents, because they are super, super supportive. They really are. I've never met an organization that's great as far as being supportive of that kind of thing. But it's just different. And, some of the moms that I've met through the Black Girl Hockey Club have been so helpful, because there's some things that I just can't talk to a white hockey mom about,
Right. There's
some things that I don't, I've never been a Black girl. I can't relate to some things. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really realize. As I can sympathize with her, and I can empathize, and I can try to understand. I know what it's like to be a white girl. I know what it's like to be a Jewish girl, but I have absolutely no idea what it's like to be a Black girl. I just don't. And there's some things that, I can talk to a Black hockey mom about, is, like, what do you do with her hair? What do you do? Because, a white kid, the hair gets sweaty, and it's, you go home and wash it, it's fine. But, we've got to I have to figure out a style for her, and she can't go right after she gets a blowout, because she'll sweat her hair out. And these are all issues that, that I can't be like, hey, how do you handle this? I can't with the other moms on the team. It's just, they don't have that issue. When we go out of town for, the tournament, and, our hotel had a pool, and of course she's going to want to, go and swim. I had to make sure her hair was braided before we went down there. And she likes to wear it straight. So I've got to time what part of the week that we get her hair done, because she's going to sweat it out if we do it the next day. These are just things, these are just examples.
We could talk about black hair all night. But I know this isn't the black hair.
Right. I know.
It could be. I mean, that's fine.
Amanda,
I cannot talk about hair since I don't got any.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Zach, you didn't have to do that to yourself.
Go ahead, Renee.
Hey, it's going to be on screen eventually. It might as well be now.
You see what I have to deal with? Please continue, Renee.
Amanda, what you said, it really resonates with me, because I've heard that from hockey coaches of Black girls, and their desire to be able to be that role model and be that mentor but knowing that there's something that they can't talk to, which is racial issues and being a Black woman and what it's going to be like as she kind of navigates this space, this very white space that hockey is, as a young Black woman who loves the sport. And I'm so glad that Black Girl Hockey Club can be that space for you and for coaches like that who have this, this overabundance of love that for their player. For you, it's, of course, it's your daughter and you want to see her happy and succeed. For coaches, it's their players who they fall a little bit in love with, and feel parently towards. But there's a blind spot, right? There's something that you can't, there's a part of them that you cannot touch, that you cannot feel. And I'm glad that Black Girl Hockey Club can be that support system, because we always tell, moms and coaches. I had a mother actually message me today on Instagram, and she was a white woman, and she said she has a 10-year-old daughter who's Black and who plays hockey. And I was, 10 years old is a little early for her to be following us on Twitter, but I told her, Mom, please, stay in touch with us, keep an eye on what we're doing, so you have a point of contact. And a place to kind of come to when you do have questions like the ones that you're talking about, Amanda, because it's ultimately Black Girl Hockey Club is about creating community. And like I said, you don't have to be Black and you don't have to be a girl to be part of Black Girl Hockey Club. You just have to support our mission. And that goes for biracial moms and white moms and moms who've adopted, and moms who are just coaches who are just looking for a point of contact in the Black community that they can utilize when their players come back with these difficult questions and in these difficult situations that we know our Black youth hockey players are encountering right now. So, it warms my heart, and how much I love you and your kids, and how much I want to see Rayla succeed. And it's not just Rayla, but it's all of them. It's all of our girls.
Yeah.
These
I didn't
these are
mean to
our
make it
girls.
a hair issue. It was just an example.
No, but it's a good lighthearted example, because there's a lot of other things that are not as lighthearted and that are not as fun and funny to talk about.
Right.
And when I say, like, we could talk about Black hair, like, if you got, like, mine is covered right now and pulled back in a protective style, because 100% it's going to rain tonight and I'm not messing with that. So, I feel Rayla's pain. And it's so funny because there is a, when I see Soroya Tinker playing hockey and stuffing her hair underneath that helmet, I love it. It makes my heart smile, because that representation is just one more access point, so little girls like Rayla and our other scholarship awardees can see that and say, well, maybe I want to do that. And if Soroya can do it, so can I.
Sure. And I love the relationship that Rayla and Kelsey have. The fact that they met up almost 4 years ago now. And then just last weekend, when Kelsey came to North Carolina to guest coach, she got to spend the day with her. Like, holy crap, she got to learn from her
language.
Sorry. No, I said crap. It's okay. I thought I just said something. No, I said, anyway, she got to skate with her again. She got to learn from her. And then at the end of the day, we got to watch a game together. I mean, that's what an amazing experience for her. And she's going to have that for a lifetime. That somebody that looks like her, somebody that, has gone through the things that is going through. It's such a great opportunity. And I could ramble on about how much I love you guys all day, but
we love you too. And you talk about Kelsey and I mentioned Soroya, and that's one of the reasons why we incorporated a mentorship aspect into our scholarship program just this last session with Rayla, because we want it not to be just a one and done flash in the pan. throw some money at the problem, but we want to build the community. We want to build these relationships. And so we're connecting all of our scholarship awardees with a mentor. And, you know, you guys are going to get the scoop on this because Black Girl Hockey Club is working on a leadership development program that we're going to be launching this summer that works that is not just for little Black girls, but it's going to be for young Black folks of all genders between the ages of 16 and 22. And we're going to connect them with a mentor within the hockey community. They don't have to be players. Maybe it's an executive, maybe it's social media, maybe it's a journalist, you know, somebody who is working in the field that they can learn from and that they can develop a relationship with, so that when they graduate college, they can go into hockey and have a leg up in the culture. And I'm so excited for the leadership program to kick off this summer. Nobody knows about it, y'all. So here you are getting the scoop on the leadership program. But it's just another way for us to make sure that there's access, make sure that hockey is addressing, you know, the hiring disparities that are very obvious in the hockey world, and giving Black folks a chance to get in on the game. When we were in North Carolina, I was so excited to bring in a couple students from the HBCUs. You know, we had NCA&T in North Carolina Central University there. We got 11 students to come to a hockey game and to get on the ice afterwards. And I had emails in my inbox the next day from these local Black college students saying, how can I get an internship with the Canes? How can I get involved in this industry? I had so much fun. I want to be involved in hockey now. And that's what we want to do. We want to change the game all around. Why not?
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, Revolution Rampage with some breaking news.
Breaking news. That's great.
But
that's awesome.
This is amazing, Renee. Like, this is you've taken something that 3, 4, 5 years ago no one would have imagined could have A, taken off the way it has, or B, even existed in the capacity it has. And you've done this by sheer will of force alone and the support of wonderful people. Now, there's hundreds, maybe thousands, millions of these wonderful people listening in right now.
Oh, I wish.
You know who you are.
I'd go back to the hundreds.
1 trillion people.
Half the population of the planet. All wonderful caniacs, as Trip Tracy would say.
Sorry. Huge caniacs.
So this is your opportunity
Huge
to talk directly to them. You're not talking to us right now, Renee. I want you to talk directly to the listeners and tell them, hey, A, that you love them because you do, and B, what you can do, what they can do to help you take this to the next level.
You know, first of all, I do love all of the Caniacs listening, all 1 trillion of them. What I love about Carolina is just the passion that the fan base has for the team and the authenticity that the team holds. You know, just working with them on small projects, having conversations with them over the last year via email, just checking in with people, you know, just saying hello and sending baby pictures. Like that's the Canes organization, right? And so what I would say to Caniacs is that, you know, we talked a bit about the Get Uncomfortable campaign, and a lot of people have asked me, well, why would I want to get uncomfortable, right? But change is often uncomfortable. Nothing good comes from being stagnant. And so the Get Uncomfortable pledge is one place to start. I would say check it out. Go visit our website, sign the pledge. It joins you up to our newsletter, and we just sent out a very special Get Uncomfortable Pledger newsletter. So if you signed the pledge, you probably got this in your inbox last week with some charts and graphs and demographics of folks who have signed it. And the Canes have one of the largest fan bases that have signed the pledge, one of the top 3, because, you know, you guys are amazing. And so that's one place to start. another thing that I often tell our allies and people who really want to participate in anti-racism work but don't know where to start, I would just say be brave. Be brave, have those uncomfortable conversations, stand up when you see something wrong happening, amplify those voices, not just on your social media, but in the boardroom, in meetings. When you have colleagues who you see are not given the same space and the same access as you, speak up about it. All it really takes is thinking outside of the box in terms of equity and inclusion, because the fan base is there. Black fans, Black players, Black hockey moms, we exist. We just want to have the same access. We just want to feel the same inclusion. And ultimately, we just want to geek out over sports with our homies in the stands, just like everybody else.
Renee, I got the graphs and I got all the newsletter and everything. I got one issue though. The graph isn't completely correct. All those Toronto ones are actually Canes fans, especially after David Ayers game. All right, that's how this works.
It's all David Ayers.
It's all David Ayers.
All of them are David Ayers fans. They are our fans.
Great.
Toronto can say they're theirs.
We claim those. That's how this works. But no, it's actually really heartwarming to see the diversity of it all.
And Seattle's on the graph. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So okay.
Right?
So here's listeners. If you're not Canes fans, right? This is for all the non-Canes fans and for some of the Canes fans. This is the challenge, right? If you're looking at that graph and your team doesn't have that much on there, that's the challenge for you to go to your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, you name it. Any of those fans around and say, hey, we need a bigger slice of this pie. Because who doesn't like pie? And take the challenge together. Go take the pledge. Go do it as a group. We had a lot of fun recording ours. And it's a little bit of a recognition of what needs to be done, and a little bit of what you get to be a little proud of yourself. There's nothing wrong with a little like, hey, I did a good thing. We for some reason our society, we were like a little shy from it. Hey, if you did a good thing and you're helping a great cause, be proud of yourself. It's all right. And with Black Girl Hockey Club, I think that it's a great organization. It's a great way. Hey, especially if you're, if you have passion for the sport, you should have passion for this, because this is a great way to grow the sport. We were always talking about how NBA and NFL and all these and MLB have better ratings. Well, guess what? This is how you do it. This is how you're going to get better, more support for your sport. And let's get more games. This is how we got to now we got ESPN. Let's get more games. Let's get on every channel. Hockey is the greatest sport on earth. All right. Everything else is just cricket. So this is how we do it.
Wait, what is that?
Exactly.
What cricket? What is cricket? I don't know what that is.
Not hockey. That's
exactly.
That's an ongoing joke, Renee. Because anytime something comes up that's not hockey, it's like, what is that? What is that, cricket?
I figured. As a hockey fan, I figured.
Running gags are the best form of comedy.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited I get a chance to talk with you guys finally on air. We've all been Twitter mutuals for such a long time, and you guys are always amplifying our stuff. And I'm just so glad that I get a chance to sit down with you and talk about what we're doing, talk about our scholarships, and really just thank your fan base for being awesome, for taking the pledge, for supporting the Canes when they took the pledge. I mean, once we put our voices together, guys, we can really make a change in hockey, and we can really make sure that there's a place for everyone in hockey. Because like you said, Omar, once we can create a space for the most marginalized among us, we've got it made. We know that everybody counts, that everybody matters, that everybody is welcome, and then hockey truly is for everyone.
The point of, I think,
100%.
organizations like Black Girl Hockey Club and the overall end mission is to no longer need him.
Exactly.
It's to build a thing where people are like, why isn't there a white girl? Well, there doesn't need to be one, and hopefully, with enough effort, there won't need to be a Black Girl Hockey Club, because it'd be having Black girls playing hockey isn't going to be a rare sight anymore. It's going to be as common as watching black girls play in the WNBA. It's going to be as common as Finnish players playing in the NHL.
Right.
I mean, Lord knows we're basically Finland South here in Carolina.
We are. We got a lot of Finns.
You do.
Well, it's like what Rayla said in her interview. It's an everyone's sport, right?
Exactly. Oh, Rayla.
Rayla's
If you
so
haven't
wise.
seen it yet, go watch it.
So, Renee, you have been incredible in this interview with us. We want to thank you so much. We're gonna send you some stickers and some fun stuff that we've made over the last year. I've got some extras of everything. So I'm gonna get with Amanda and we're gonna ship that out to you as a huge thank you. Some of these stickers are fun, some of them are a little weird, but that's who we are, right? We're a little weird.
Renee, do you ever go to Anaheim games?
Good statement.
Are you close to there? Or are you more a Kings person?
I am closer to Orange County, so I do go see Anaheim games a lot, especially when I want to go root for the other team. So,
well, take care of Fleury for us.
Say hi to Hayden.
Oh,
we lost Fleury, so
you
gotta keep an eye on him.
Have you guys seen that interview he did? He was so sad. And we'll talk about all of that and some more. But Renee, thank you for coming out, taking the time and talking to us. I think more importantly, talking to our listeners, talking to the great Caniacs out there, even you, Dua Lipa, and Trip Tracy says she's a Caniac. You know what? Who am I to say he's a liar? So Dua Lipa is listening, and along with all the other great Caniacs out there, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
So Renee was amazing, guys. How do you guys think about that? That was incredible. Okay, I've never
indeed
been this pumped. But no, they're not really a but. Moving forward, let's talk about the Kings. I mean, we touched a little bit about a couple of things that's happened over the last few weeks. We talked about the Hayden Fleury trade for a Finn. We kind of brought all that kind of up in the indirect way. So Hayden Fleury was traded to the Anaheim Ducks for a 6th round pick in not this upcoming draft, but the next draft. Plus Yanni Hakanpää, or is it Laurel Hakanpää?
I don't know, but it's a fun name to say.
Yanni Hakanpää. I mean, that's a hockey name. That's a Finnish hockey name of all things. And yes, he is Finnish, so we've added on to Finland South. And immediately, right, like in game 2, he comes up, bang, he's got a goal.
Other than the goal, the guy hits people a lot.
Yeah, he's huge. Have you seen that picture of him standing next to Ned? He's dwarfing Ned. It's ridiculous. He's massive. Now, could we say we won the trade? This is not one of those trades that you could say you won or lost. And I'll break it down real quick in why this trade was made. You know, there's a lot of people heartbroken over Hayden Fleury, but this trade was really a trade made for 2 reasons. Yeah, Hakanpää brings in size. He brings in that right-handed shot, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Right. So that's one less player that you have to worry about getting snagged up by Seattle, where Fleury was going to be available. So it's kind of Waddell kind of moving things around, right? If he's like, if I'm going to lose Fleury, I might as well get a 6th round pick out of it. And he does. So
it's interesting though that he gets one for next season and not this season, but
I think it's whatever Anaheim had available. I can't really
know the draft. Like, we don't know the prospects because the sheer scouting isn't there. I mean, the OHL canceled their season.
Right. So there's a lot of things going on because, between the OHL, the CHL, their shortened season there. So we're not really 100% sure, but let me look at Anaheim. Did they even have a 6th round pick available for this round in 2020? Yeah, they did. But they chose to trade away their 2022 pick, but they still have a 2022 6th-round pick that originally belonged to Nashville. So I guess that's all. But they traded away all their 7th-round picks already. So there's interesting content there. Of course, Hayden Fleury is signed through next season. So I would say that the Ducks would protect Hayden Fleury, but the Carolina couldn't, because you'd want to protect your 3 defenders would be Jacob Slavin, Dougie Hamilton doesn't need to be protected, but it's Jacob Slavin,
Pesci,
Brett Pesci, and Jake Bean maybe, or is Jake Bean on his?
I think Jake's Bean is still on.
So probably Jacob Slavin, Dougie Hamilton, and no, Dougie Hamilton is an RFA, so UFA, so he doesn't have to be protected either. I would say it's probably going to be. Oh, that's why Jay Gunner's got an NTC. That's what it is. So that's who they're going to have to protect. So, if they're going to snag a defender, it's probably going to be Brady Shea. Because once you protect Jacob Slavin and Brett Pesci, you don't have really, and Jake Gardner, those 3.
And hopefully Shea's okay after that cross-check into the legal cross-check into the boards.
The last 2 games against Tampa have been atrocious in terms of officiating, right? Because Nate just takes a headshot and then immediately gets
elbows.
Right, he just gets hammered. Tampa's obviously well aware that this kid is an offensive threat, and their response was to hit him. Right, which is telling me that your defense has no trust in itself. And if you have you got Vasilevsky, and you're still worried about Natchez, the fact that you got to go and physically try to hit him, try to hurt him, then don't get me wrong, the Jake Gardner absolutely gave Natchez a suicide pass, but you didn't have to hit him like that. You didn't have to; it was avoidable.
Yeah, one thing with the Tampa games that really annoyed me, I don't know about either of you guys, but the piped in boos, like the constant piped in boos got annoying after like 5 minutes. And our friend, the Florida Caniac, he was at the game and said, like, just sitting there in the building, it was insufferable listening to all those constant booing.
So that wasn't the fans. That was actually so somebody saw whatever and decided to hit the boo button every time a Lightning player, got his ass handed to him by a cane. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved Jordan Stahl's thing where Yanni Gord decides to ride Jordan Stahl's stick like a witch, and then gets up after Jordan Stahl hey, get off my stick. And then cross-checks Jordan Stahl about anywhere between 20 to 30 times. And then Jordan Stahl manages to still deflect the puck into the net to give the Canes a 2-0 lead and just stands in front of Yanni Gord what's up? And
of the season.
I mean, you gotta think this team has confidence, right? Who was it on NHL Network or NHL TV or something like that said the Canes are the weakest number 1 seed.
I can't remember who it was. It was not Kevin Weeks.
They said
it was not Kevin Weeks, and we'll take that.
No. Kevin Weeks would never say something like that. But he said something along the lines that they would have to face Nashville, one of the hottest teams in the league. And he says that after the Canes just swept Nashville in back-to-back games.
And we're gonna probably do it again the last 2 games of the season.
Canes are in strong position right now. They need to win the next 2 games against Florida. They can really take a good lead in the standings. Really command.
The division fight's going to be winner take all last game. I swear it's going to be that.
Well, I'm going to be interested to see who gets the 4th seed. Right now, it's really a race between Dallas and Nashville. I'd rather face Nashville, honestly, but Dallas is fine too.
Sorry to our friends at Music City Gold. we're gonna whoop y'all. I'm sorry, we're gonna whoop y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really, really surprised at how physical the games have been the past couple of times, and the dirty hits. It really, I mean, checking and hitting, that's one thing, and occasional good fight. Yeah, everybody likes that. But just some of the stuff that they were doing,
Desperation.
It just blew my mind.
Desperation by a team that is suddenly might be looking down the barrel of a first round exit if they got to face the Panthers. I mean, if I'm right now, I'll look this up while you guys are talking here, but the record between Panthers and Tampa is pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
I will actually,
and we have games in hand on them.
We do. We got games in hand on both of these teams, but what I really interested to see is how Tampa fared in the season against Florida, right? Because we're not really paying attention. Like, we see the games happen, but let's see here.
But I'm sorry for any fans that don't want to see this. I want to see a Battle of Florida in the first round. I want to see it happen because it's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be interesting, and that is absolutely for certain. I think they're tied at 3-3 each.
Where does that sound familiar?
So Tampa is 3-3-0 against Florida, but Florida is 3-2-1 against Tampa. So but here's the funny thing: Canes and Tampa are each 4-0-1, 4-3-1 against each other. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But Tampa still has, I think they still have 2 more games against Florida, and that's coming up actually here in a couple of weeks. I think it's the end of the season. It's the last 2 games of the season.
Relatively looking at the schedule, if you want to look at the Canes' remaining games, the best opponent they have is Florida, and then that's it. It's Dallas, who's scrapping for a playoff spot, Chicago, who sold out the deadline and are basically mad right now, and Nashville, and we've owned them all season.
Yeah.
And then you got 1 game against Detroit and 1 against Columbus. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Like, Detroit for some reason has their number. I don't understand that. But that homestand could have gone. It's the curse of Iserman. That homestand could have gone better. Can we talk about Ned? I know Amanda wants to talk about
Ned.
Yes, we could absolutely talk about Ned.
Because
the hottest goaltender in the NHL.
Okay, I don't understand why when you talk about rookies in the league, goaltending rarely gets brought up unless a goaltender is actually carrying a team. Now, Ned is not carrying Carolina, technically. Why? Because Peter's been just as good. Because Reimer's been reliable. Not the greatest, but reliable. So Carolina suddenly has 2 excellent goaltenders and a reliable backup to 1A and 1B.
We have a 3-headed monster, and we've never
finally the Canes have a good goaltending thing going on.
Thank you.
But here's the greatest thing, right? When you look at the leaders, for goalies, Peter Mrazek has, I don't know if they've updated this, because I think Nedeljkovic should be higher than this in goals against average, because I think he's gotten it down to 1 point. Anyways, I think it goes 1-2 Alex Nedeljkovic, Peter Mrazek in goals against average. And the same for you know what? I'm gonna leave the NHL stat site, and I am gonna go to Hockey Reference.
Yeah, but it's just ridiculous how good he's been, and we called it. We called it last year when we had him on the podcast. We knew he was going to be good. We knew he needed the chance. He finally got it, and he's showing why we were right.
Right. I mean, even if you even watched the Checkers while he was there, even before the Calder Cup, you could see how talented he was. And I was very, very frustrated with the fact that he wasn't getting time up here that I thought that he should. And, I even told him at the Canes Fest, I am so excited that you are here. And I don't know. He's so good.
I still have his stick in my closet.
That's good.
I still have it. It's the lucky stick.
Yeah, so for all qualified goalies, right? Save percentage 9.932. It's Alex, and then Andre Vasilevsky comes in second at 0.93 at 0.93. And then
does games played have any effect on that?
Probably.
I don't know numbers.
That's what qualifies them. I mean, that's absolutely carrying.
They don't have a backup. Vasilevsky has to play almost every game for Tampa to have a chance.
Tampa's going to make it far in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a first round exit because they don't. It's something. Vasilevsky's going to carry them for, and he's going to be the reason it makes it 7 games, but he's going to burn out.
Yeah,
and I think Florida, which has Bobrovsky, Dreider, and now Spencer Knight, is going to outpace Tampa.
Which leads me to believe that Seattle is going to claim Chris Drieger.
Maybe. But here's the thing, though. If you're Florida, well, they can't take Spencer Knight because he's still
ELC.
Yeah. So they naturally protect Bob. But would you even protect Bob? That's a lot of money.
Contract?
That's a lot of money. Would Seattle be willing? So here's the math right here, right? Would Seattle be willing to take on Bob's contract?
Ron Francis, what do you think?
I mean, he's overpaid for a goalie once before.
Yeah, that turned out badly.
So.
But speaking of big money contracts that possibly could be happening, Dougie, he's already said that they're not going to do anything until the end of the season. But look at his stats this year. He may not be scoring goals, but he's getting A's for days.
Right. So if you look at like the assist leaders, Dougie Hamilton's tied for 16th with Tyson Barrie and Brad Marchand.
With 31.
31 assists, right? And it's interesting because this is a Carolina Hurricanes team that's getting scoring from all 4 lines, from all 3 defensive pairings, from everywhere. It's like you never know who's going to score next because everyone's on fire right now.
Arguably, Nino and Jordan Stahl are having the best seasons they've had in years.
Vincent Trocheck is having himself a resurgent season.
He has blown me away. I did not really know what to expect from him when he came
No one did because he hurt himself. He has blown me away. And he's come back with a vengeance. And you got to realize that comes back to Rod Brind'Amour's ability to really keep his players healthy and at the top of their game, but also for those who do get hurt, he gives them all the time they need to get back into shape, and he's okay with it. No one's being forced back early because the rest of the roster is more than capable of holding the line and keeping the wins coming.
Teuvo proved that.
Right, Teravainen, right? He's a first liner, no doubt about it. He's traveling with the team, but Rod's like, hey, I need you at 100% before I put you in this lineup. He's not going to put someone who's at 95, could play. He's going to put them in when they're at 100. Why? Because you can afford it. Is that going to be great for his career and season, stats, and yada, yada, yada? No. Does he care? That's not this is a team sport, not an individual sport. And all that matters right now is how you can help your team get to the very end, right? Because this is a season where being the first seed more than matters. Where winning the President's Cup matters.
Though I would love to have that
You're breaking up again, man.
Anyway. Banner. I just want the team healthy and ready to go. That's all I want.
So I think, but here's the
I want them ready. That's all I care.
Team is strong enough and physically powerful enough to continue to battle day in and day out. There's not going to be. This is Rod Brind'Amour's Carolina Hurricanes do not let their foot off the gas.
Though we do still need to pay Rod, and that's one thing that's scaring Hurricanes fans.
You can't look at. I don't think that Tom Dundon and Don Waddell are going to look at this team, this identity of this Carolina Hurricanes team. You got to realize they paid Don. They're going to pay Rod, right? This is part of the identity of the team. First of all, Don Waddell was a question mark to begin with. He has some GM experience. It was kind of a weird thing where he kind of went from the role of president to GM, even though he was kind of in charge of finding the next GM. And he kind of like, you know what, I'll do it. He put the gauntlet on. He's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Well, the big question mark everyone had is his previous experience as a GM was with Atlanta.
Right, but here's the thing though, people grow, right? People learn, people get better. Being a GM or being a coach isn't stats in a video game. He can get better. It's not like, oh, he ruined one thing once that he's not going to learn from it. And people can regress as well. So you got to keep an eye on everything. What do you guys feel about the opportunity? Who would you rather face in the second round, Tampa or Florida? I know we already talked about, I think Florida is going to win that round, but who would you rather face?
Good question.
One really good goaltender or three semi-decent goaltenders that can swap out for each other and always be fresh?
Card that I have with Tampa is the fact that Kucherov can come back. Though he's on injury reserve right now, we don't know. He could come back for game 1. We don't know. But if I had to pick, I would say Tampa. I would rather them in round 2.
I'll agree with that one.
Yeah. Well, I think this episode's been long enough. We've talked about everything and we've gone around the horn several times with Renee. But and we're gonna, especially as the season starts to come to a close here in a bit, we need to ramp it up with how many episodes we're gonna record, and we're gonna bring more episodes, I think, as we get closer.
Yeah.
Godzilla, Godzilla, we see him, all right?
There's so much more to talk about, but we need to save it for another one because our interview with Renee was just so awesome.
And yeah, but that just means that you guys
stick around. Who will get next?
Yeah,
we don't know.
We have some of the greatest guests
Tom
in podcast history.
I would love to bring Coach Jazz in. She
Kelsey.
runs. Well, yeah, of course. But she runs the Hockey Player of Colors movement, and she's actually been a Junior Canes coach before, and she's Rayla's mentor, and they're trying to get together to do a stick and puck. But I would love to bring her in. I'm gonna ask her.
That sounds like an amazing episode coming up. So stay tuned, Kayaks and Rampagers, I guess. What do we call our listeners?
I don't know.
Our beloved children.
Maybe we should leave it up to Twitter.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Right. You never know what you're going to get on that
right? And then I don't think that's going to end well. Anyways, so thank you for listening. This has been a wonderful, long episode of Red Revolution Rampage. I hope you've stuck with us till the end. Follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
Check us out on Facebook. We might be taking pictures on Insta. Go to redrevolutionrampage.com to get the latest and greatest episodes. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, I don't know, subscribe and listen if you're watching on YouTube. Anyways, I'm Omar.
I'm Amanda. And that's Zach.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We went out of order. Sorry. I jumped the gun. Zach.
Oh, no.
You know what? I love that. So when do we have an order?
I know.
There's no order here. I usually just jump it up because I'm hyperactive like that. Anyways. Till next time.
Till next time.